Hey guys, welcome to Pro Prep Baseball Live. We're here. I'm Ken Arnold.
And I am Tommy Weber. How's
Yep.
it going, Al?
It's going good, Tommy. I'm having a great weekend. How's it going up in upstate New York? What's going on up there?
It's going really good. Hitting a lot of golf balls and eating good food, and of course, carrying on this eternal conversation about baseball with everybody and anyone who will listen.
Yeah, exactly. I think I lost you already, man. Whoa, what happened? All right, so we're going to bring Tommy back on. Give me 1 second. I've got to go over and reconnect him real quick. Wow, that was quick. We got this thing started up, and boom, we lost Tommy Weber. We're going to disconnect, and then we're going to reconnect. And yes, he is a question mark. We'll get him back on. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Pro Prep Baseball, Sunday Night Live. We have one person watching right now, which is pretty darn cool. There you are, Tommy. Good to have you back. You cut out for a second there. I got you back over. You were live. So thank you for joining me, Tommy. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
So what's going on up in upstate New York this weekend? Anything fun and anything exciting?
Just a lot of golf. Hitting a lot of golf balls, carrying on this eternal conversation about this game that we love and we've been involved in our whole lives, and enjoying the Labor Day weekend, getting ready to go back to St. John's and start teaching. I'm excited about that. So here we are.
Yes, here we are, and there we go. I got the comments up and they are working. I just put a test out there. So if you're at home and you're listening in, feel free to comment, ask questions, join the conversation. We love interacting with the people at home, and that's what it's all about. It's about a conversation about the greatest game there is. So please join us, and we'll get to talking about certain things about baseball. So, yeah, upstate New York was busy, but you know what we had down here in Annapolis today that made traffic on a Sunday, on Labor Day weekend, crazy. It was Senator John McCain.
Oh, right. Naval Academy.
Yes, over at the Naval Academy today. And,
Yep.
All the highways, they shut down as the procession came in to town. And, there were people stopped on the highway and everything. It was kind of neat. It was kind of a neat thing. So,
a life well lived, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And service to his country.
Absolutely. He deserves a salute, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I actually had the pleasure of, when I was a personal trainer back in the early 2000s when I owned a gym, I had the pleasure of training his older sister, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. She was such a sweet lady. She called him Johnny all the time. She's like, oh, Johnny. Yes, Johnny. Wore pearls to work out in. It was phenomenal.
Well, if you saw the mother, she's 106 years old. She gets around pretty good. That was amazing.
And his older sister looked like his mom. She did.
I'm sure.
I mean,
sure.
But not 106. But
no, I know.
But
I know.
Same. Looked. They could have been twins. Back in the day. Or whatever.
Godspeed, John McCain.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. So let's get right into it, man. What's going on? I mean, baseball. Some really cool things happened this week in baseball. We had practice, which was fun, to say the least, which was fantastic. I got a bunch of 13-year-olds that, they struggle a little bit. I didn't get the pick of the litter, so to speak, in this league, and that's okay with me. I don't care. You give me 13 guys, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna coach them, and we're gonna be the best we can be.
How many guys you have helping you?
I have 2 other guys that are helping me. But
you need bodies.
Yes, I need bodies, but they're not that experienced in baseball. So as I'm coaching the kids, I'm also coaching them.
That's good.
So
I would rather teach a room full of coaches than a room full of players, because if you teach a room full of coaches, you might be teaching eventually hundreds of players.
Yes.
So you're doing a good thing.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun, man. I like being out there. These guys I got who are helping me out are really good guys. They love the game. They like being around the kids,
What more could you ask?
Yeah, and it's a good situation all around. And if it's not a good situation, why are you doing it?
And also, as you know, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's not right. If you're a good guy and you're dedicated and you keep the kids, best interest at heart, you're going to do just fine. Just fine.
Absolutely. So, So did you happen to see Aaron Boone this week get thrown out?
I saw that live. I was watching that game. Yeah, I was.
Were you watching that game? Was that awesome? That was awesome.
Yeah. Listen, we live in a very different world. It seems to me like in baseball, it's all about conflict aversion, and especially in the amateur game. I mean, the amateur game has really been poisoned by this, the niceness doctrine.
Yeah.
Where it's all about, if you saw how many people get their hands who shake hands before a game, like at the amateur level, the base coaches, they shake hands with the base umpires and the catcher. He shakes hands with the home plate. By the time it's all done, I mean, it really starts to. Look, I'm not some old Oriole who thinks you should be fighting with everyone, but I have a job to do. You have a job to do. We don't have to shake hands. We really don't. And then to me, it's sort of. Imposes a certain it imposes on your independence and your impartiality as an umpire when you start hugging my players.
Sure.
So I saw the altercation. Listen, he lost his temper, which he's perfectly within his rights to do so. And sometimes you gotta, well, not sometimes, but all the time, you gotta protect your players. You just have to. You have to advocate for your players. There's really not a whole lot else a manager does.
Not in today's game.
You got to stick up for your players.
Yeah.
If you don't stick up for your players, you're not a manager. You're a scorekeeper and a lineup writer. So I think that Boone, especially being such a laid-back California type guy, for him to go through that really must have struck a chord with him. And it was also very entertaining, and that's what baseball is. It's supposed to be entertainment.
Guess what I got? I got the clip right here. So we're going to show it to the folks at home so they know exactly what we're talking about. Here we go.
Thrown out.
And there he is. He's pointing at something. And then he's in his face. I don't know. And then he's in his face some more. This is the best part right here.
He looks good. He's got a good setup for a catch.
Absolutely.
He really does.
And I know what he was saying. He's like, he's framing the ball down and out of the zone. What are you doing? Why are you calling that strike?
And then I think he said, you're effing horrible.
Exactly. I believe he did.
He was terrible. Not that the facts mean anything, but the guy was really bad. He was doing a terrible job.
Well,
terrible job.
To be honest with you, and Jimmy Pearsall said it best when I played with the Cubs, and you know who Jimmy Pearsall is.
Yeah, he ran the bases backwards.
Yes. He said it best. The umpires suck. Period. Everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll say this. This will get me into all sorts of trouble, but why should I stop now?
Yeah.
Here's what instant replay has done, and I hate instant replay in almost all of its forms, but the one thing that it really has done is it's shown that the umpires at the major league level just aren't that good. They really aren't.
Yeah.
My reaction 90% of the time when they're reviewing a call, which I find infuriating because it interrupts the pace of the game, is how do they get these wrong? How do they get all these calls wrong? They're getting 49% of the close calls overturned. You're just not that good.
No, and it's right in front of your face. I saw a play the other night in the game.
You have one base.
Yeah,
they cover one base.
Where the catcher caught the ball, tugged the runner, and it was like a hair, right? Like he tugged it, and it could have gone either way, right? Except for the fact that the catcher still had the ball in his throwing hand and never touched the guy and still called him out. And guess what happened? The end result was the guy was out. I was like, really? Even the instant replay people didn't get it right.
Look, I've never met a fight on a field that I didn't like. I'll cop to that. I'm a pain in the ass when it comes to umpires. I've gone over the line many times. But the reality is, if you don't hold the umpires accountable, they're not going to be accountable at all. So I think it was Thomas Paine who said a group of men that's accountable to no one should be trusted by no one. So the only way you're going to keep umpires on their toes is if you keep them on their toes.
Exactly.
It's human nature. If nobody's looking, you're going to kind of half-ass it, which is what umpires do a lot. They do. Because there's a disincentive for them to improve because they have all the power.
They do. And, what I've done at the youth level, because it never is good to go after the guys at the youth level. They're not good, period.
Wait till you get in the parking lot. It's better to go after them then.
Yeah, exactly. No, what I do is, here's the deal. I know the rule book. That's what I know. So if something goes not in our favor, 9 times out of 10, I go out there and I explain the rule to them, and then they go, oh, yeah, you're right. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me at the youth level. I've gone out calmly and said, listen, I understand why you called it the way you did, but here's the rule, and this is what the rule is. And they go, oh, and then they meet with the other umpire, and then they change their decision most of the time. But that's the key. I think the key is knowing the rule book, so when you go out to argue with these guys, because half the time they don't even know it.
I'll tell you what. I'll cop to the call. I don't care about the calls. To me, it's more about demeanor and the way you treat my players. That's what I'm really there for, because the players have an emotional investment in the game that the officials are not supposed to have. Players, coaches, and people who have a vested interest who are on one of the two teams. There aren't three teams on the field. There are two. Yep. The officials are not a third team. So all I ask is that you treat my players with respect, and when a guy pops off to you because he has an emotional investment in the game, you just look the other way and don't bait him. They constantly bait players. They do, because especially the young guys. I must say this. The young guys, really, a lot of them have never played. The older veteran guys are easy. They don't mind going back and forth with you. They let you have your say. These young guys, you look at them cross-eyed and they want to throw you out of a game.
Oh, I've had that happen to me many a time where the umpires made it about them and drawing attention to themselves instead of when they had the opportunity to look the other way. Many times, they decided to go after me. When I was playing Webbs, we had to actually call the front office on an umpire and to get him off my back. Because it cost us a game in one game, and the umpire told me he was going to kick my ass.
Well, you see, that's where, again,
he told me he was going to kick my ass.
I said this to an umpire once. You're only talking to me like that.
Yeah.
Because you're an umpire.
Yep.
If we were anywhere else,
you
would not be talking to me that way, and that should be the litmus test.
Exactly.
That should be. And here's another thing. A lot of what we say here is facetious and for the sake of humor.
Yes.
I'm not espousing waiting for the umpire in the parking lot, okay? Not even I would do that. It ends on the field, and you forget it the next day.
Look, and I don't remember if you remember this, Weber. When we were at Wagner, that guy chased the guy into the parking lot with a bat. Remember that game?
I do remember that.
Boom, they immediately called the game right on the spot.
I remember that.
Yes.
We were like in Westchester or something. I remember that game vividly. I do.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been a part of some scuffles with umpires that I probably went over the line, but they go over the line as well, and they need to be held to the same standard as the players and the managers and the coaches. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I really don't. Jim Cott said it best. Jim Cott said the umpire used to be like your old Dutch uncle. Kind of put his arm around you. You know, you have this relationship with them. You could laugh, you could yell, and once you had your piece, that would be it. It would be over. Now, a lot of them are like punk teenagers.
Yep.
All they're doing is looking to provoke and start a fight. It becomes a power struggle. And what they don't really understand is nobody really cares. Your job is to be invisible. Nobody's there to see you. Just shut up and get some of the calls right.
The best umpires are the ones you never notice.
Right? Of course.
Never notice. And
of course.
The one time we had the first female umpire in professional baseball.
I remember her.
Years ago. Yeah. Well, I made a play at second base, and
I'm sure you did.
Right? I made a play. And, I mean, the guy was out by like 3 feet.
She started to cry? Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I didn't say I'm sorry.
No, she called the guy safe. And I said, that's a terrible call. And she just jumped right up in my face and just started yelling at me. Now, here I am trying to, because I'm like in my head thinking to myself, don't call her a bitch, don't call her a bitch, don't call her a bitch. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to do that. And here I am saying that. And then she told me that maybe if I was a better player, at that point, I went.
Now it's personal. It's personal.
I went, okay,
right.
You're a bitch, right? I was out of that game faster, but I felt like, you know, if you're going to do that, you're going to make it personal, then, you know, I can call you a bitch.
Well, maybe if you were hotter, you wouldn't be an umpire. That's what you should have said to her.
But after that, Tom, after that incident on the field, every time I saw her, she was like my best bud.
Oh, yeah. They also are very manic, these guys. They really are. One day they're throwing you out of the game. The next day they're shaking your hand. That's why Let's just keep it professional. You do your job, I'll do mine.
I'll do mine.
And we'll go, our separate ways. But I think that Boone, here's the one thing I will say. All the response to what Boone did, players, fans, writers in New York, has been almost 100% positive. That's why there's a place for that, because baseball is entertainment. And if I'm the Yankees and I read this as a business person, as a corporation, as an entity for profit, I say, you know what? Good for you, Aaron Boone. That's a good thing for baseball. And it's good for baseball.
Yeah, and why would a manager do it anyway? It's he's trying to fire his team up.
Absolutely.
A lot of times he's not doing it to be an ass. He's out
Listen,
there. He's trying to fire his team up. You pick spots. You pick your spots. And in today's game, it's hard to pick your spots because of instant replay, I think.
Nobody knows better than you do. When you're a player, you want to know somebody is in your corner. Because as a player, you're out there exposed on your own. You might be going through a rough spell. You might have problems at home. You're playing every day. You're tired. You want to know that when you screw up somebody, or you don't screw up and somebody screws up on your behalf, that somebody's going to be there to advocate for you. If you're not going to advocate for your players, then you need to find another business.
Exactly. No, I mean, you really have to. And it's at the major league level, it's become a joke because the manager barely goes out there anymore. And the only time he's really going out there is to make a move, take a pitcher out. He's not doing, or make a lineup change. He's not doing anything.
Well, that Major League Baseball has come down hard and said, listen, no criticizing instant replay, no criticizing the umpires. This is what instant replay, part of why it's implemented, is to avert conflict. Yeah. And to me, it's not violent conflict. Managers have never beaten up umpires in the major leagues. And I think what Major League Baseball is finding out vis-a-vis this Aaron Boone incident is that there's an entertainment value to that. It spices up the game a little bit. People take note of that. The crowd gets into a frenzy. That's your business. Your business is to make people enjoy the game more any way you can.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I'm looking at some, we got Jordan Greska. Yeah, he was in. Rabbit ears, he said.
Rabbit ears.
And then
I got him his degree. Jordan Greska. He's one of my students.
And then Neil Barbarella came on, and he said, "Webb, the parking lot, never."
Neil Barbella was our bench coach in 2011, and he was also one of our coaches in the Cape for the last 2 years. So he's also got a championship ring. He's one of my closest friends and a great baseball guy.
Excellent, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Neil. Thanks for joining us, Jordan. Appreciate it. Fantastic. All right, man. So. In the game today,
who's asking what's up, Coach Weber?
Is got to be tough. What's up, Trung Nugent?
Oh my God, Trung! Yeah. Wow, how's it going, man? Holy cow! One of my St. Francis guys, and don't call me Coach. You call me Tommy. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that's been a constant for 1,000 years. I hate when guys call me Coach.
I want to get the T-shirt that says "Mr. Coach" from Domingo Ayala. I love that guy.
Right. I love that. Trung, good to hear from you, man. I hope all is well. Give me a call.
Yeah. Your wife joined. She's on.
My wife. Oh, shit.
Hey, Carolyn.
I gotta behave. I have to behave.
You better watch what you say now, pal. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Why start now?
So, I think we've talked enough about managers. It ain't like it used to be. It ain't Earl Weaver. It ain't Billy Martin. But, there is a point at which you need to go and, like you said, go out and advocate for your players. I agree.
But I also can, and I don't need to have things the way they were. I like progress. I like change. I don't like change personally, but I understand change is a constant. The question, though, is that once you recognize that something has changed, has it changed for the better?
Yes.
That's the question you need to ask yourself. Everything's always changing. Does it change for the better? I don't know. But what you do have now in baseball, if you notice, if you have a lot of corporate kind of cold, detached, sterile, if you will, looking managers.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, I mean, they're just reading analytics, writing a lineup card.
They look like they came right out of an insurance broker's office and into the dugout.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I still love the older school type managers.
Me too.
Characters. Yeah, they're fun. They're fun guys to be around. So, Pete McCannon, who was with the Phillies last year, one of my favorite managers.
That was your manager in Bowie.
Yes, he was one of the greatest managers I ever played for.
That guy was in good shape.
Yeah, He was, and he is, and he's a great baseball guy, great baseball
He really
mind.
is. He really is.
And he was in a bad spot. He was the interim manager
Yeah.
while they were rebuilding that squad.
Yep.
So
That's a thankless job.
Yeah. So Ray Peterson came on, gave us a thumbs up. Thank you, Ray.
Ray Peterson, outstanding right-handed pitcher, St. Francis, really good guy.
Oh,
he was at an epic. Ray Peterson started. Well, I started it, but Ray Peterson initiated an epic fight, St. Francis, Mount St. Mary's, which we'll get into at some other time.
Yes.
Because I'm not sure if the statute of limitations has run on that incident.
All these St. Francis guys, Del George,
Yep, that's right.
That's awesome.
I wore number 5 this season to honor my mentor, Frank Del George.
And you know what I remember about Frank was that incredible mustache. It was amazing.
He did have that for a long time.
He did. That was
a
amazing.
long time. He doesn't have that
it.
anymore. He doesn't have, we convinced him to get rid of that.
I loved it. Well, good. All right. Fair
One
enough.
of the best baseball people ever. Seriously. Great,
Fair enough.
great.
No,
great
I
baseball
remember
mind.
when we went out
Super.
to play those guys, we had to go. We had to be ready to play, and they
Absolutely
beat us plenty. You
Right.
know? So what about David Wright coming out and saying, let me play because my kids haven't seen me play? What do you think about that?
Doesn't he have a video? Doesn't he have a Betamax where he's got some games on tape that he can show his kids?
VHS.
I have to say this. Look, David Wright, outstanding player, really good Met. I get all of that, and I feel terrible that it's awful when a guy suffers a series of injuries that it looks like are going to end his career. It's a terrible thing for anyone. But David Wright hasn't played for free. The Mets are going to have paid him $192 million. Mm-hmm. Now, that's what they exchange for your services. Beyond that, you're asking an awful lot for them to – now, I think there are financial ramifications if he does play, because I think then even they are responsible for part of next year's contract.
Yes.
So to ask them to do that so that your daughters could watch what is basically a shell of the player you once were. I'm not sure if I were David Wright, I'd rather let my daughters see the tape than let them see a guy who's going to go out there and not be able to reach first base with a throw. I'm not really sure how that correlates into something he even wants them to see. And I don't think the Mets owe him anything. And the hardest thing to do, Yankees had to do it, and they fumbled it a couple of times as well. Hardest thing to do is part ways with a guy who's been a big part of your organization, who you owe a ton of money to. It never goes good. Never.
No. And everybody's going to want the same thing at some point then.
I mean,
when you get old and you're about ready to retire, just let me play one more game.
Right,
So-and-so hasn't seen me play.
Right.
I wish I had that opportunity.
We all look, I think it's unreasonable for him to think that it's just a fait accompli that he comes back. The Mets endure more of a financial hardship than they already are with respect to his contract. Just so that your daughters could see you play. I think that's a little much to ask of the organization. I'm sorry. I'm not a hard ass. I get it. But it's not a Lou Gehrig situation, thank God.
Yes.
He's going to drift off into the sunset with generational money. He's been compensated beyond what anybody could possibly expect in any career. And that's, to me, if I'm the Mets, I say thank you, and that's going to have to be enough.
I agree. Well, you know what? I agree with you a lot, Webbs. But you know what?
That's why I'm on your show.
I know, exactly. Thank you. Thank you for being here. But yeah, David Wright, he had such a good career.
Yeah.
Yes, they didn't win a World Series title with David Wright.
Not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. But David, your career is over. I wish I could go back to the Cubs or the Orioles or somebody and say, hey, Bowie Bay Sox, can you let me play next Thursday night? Because my kids haven't seen me play.
But once you contemplated that, this age Kenny Arnold might say, I don't think I want to face that 19-year-old kid
who's
from the Dominican Republic who's like 138 pounds and throws 99 miles an hour and has no idea where it's going.
Exactly.
You really want to get up against that guy?
No. No, I don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. I didn't want to get up against that guy 25 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're asking me to do it now? No. I'd stand there for 3 pitches and then walk back to the dugout.
Oh, boy.
You know what I'd do, though? I'd put my best launch angle swing on it.
Oh, please. Please.
Did I tell you? I told you. I sent you a text about it. FP Santangelo. I was watching the Nationals, and who are they playing? I don't know who they were playing, but somebody was blowing 97, 98. Oh, they were playing the Phillies. Scott Kingery was up. They were playing the Phillies. And the guy was just blowing cheese. And FP Santangelo just ripped into Kingery. He goes, "Yeah, you ain't catching up to that with that launch angle swing, buddy.
Yeah. Try to get underneath that thing."
Yeah, with 2 strikes, he's still swinging out of his butt.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well,
with that launch swinging up, and
right,
FP was like, "Yeah, you ain't hitting that."
Right.
Yeah, take your walk back to the dugout, pal.
Yeah. Ask the MLB Network if they're still thinking out is an out. It doesn't matter what kind of out you make. Yeah, okay, that's great. Thanks a lot.
There's a word in the game for a long time, a phrase actually, productive out.
Yeah, sacrifice fly, RBIs,
RBI, get the guy over,
get him in.
Yeah, get him in.
I'm with
those
you.
kind of things.
Yeah.
They don't give a crap anymore. They don't give a crap. Dan Ford joined. Hey, Danny Ford.
Danny Ford. Danny
Yes.
Ford's son. Danny Ford's son, hell of a player, great
is.
body, left-handed hitting third baseman, big arm, smart kid, going to Penn State, going to have a great college career. That kid is really good.
And
really
he's better,
good.
and he's better looking than his dad.
Well, that's not a high bar. He didn't set the bar that high. So.
No, but I love the video that his dad puts up. I love the video that Dan puts up. His son looks like he's going to be a great player.
He's a player. That kid is good.
He looks like he's going to be a great player.
And very dedicated. Very dedicated. I worked with him in the winter. Mm-hmm. Really, really smart kid. High baseball IQ. He's going to have a ton of fun. I wish him lots of health and a lot of fun at Penn State. He's going to really do well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does out there. And if he comes, hey Dan Ford, just to let you know, if he comes anywhere near, down here to play in Maryland, let me know. I will come out and check out the game and see, pay a visit.
We'll all go to we'll all sleep over.
Exactly. You can all come down here to Annapolis. I got a guest room.
Oh God.
I do. I have a guest room. I mean, it's covered in pictures of me playing baseball.
I'm sure it is.
Yes.
As is the inside of your car.
Exactly. Anywhere else you go, it's all slathered with.
But that kid is really good. I'm really looking forward to watching him throughout his career. Really, he's not. It's not just like I know his father. I know a lot of fathers. I know a lot of fathers. But he really is good. Good kid.
Yeah, and I've seen the video, and he looks legit. So
Yep.
It's going to be awesome, Dan Ford.
Hopefully, he should wear number 16, but we'll get to that.
Yes. I think he should wear number 1. I'm just saying. So, faux sportsmanship, Tommy Weber. What did you mean by that? You sent me a text about faux sportsmanship.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. It's just, what is it? September 1st or 2nd? I'm already getting into trouble.
September 2nd. It's okay. You can get in trouble. No big deal.
Well, I think that. I think sportsmanship has been I think sportsmanship is now confused with optics. Mm-hmm. If it looks like it's a sporting gesture, then it must be. I think people who make rules and regulations like to see everybody hug and kiss after a game, and they think that's sportsmanship. I don't think they think it's sportsmanship. I think they think it's a show of sportsmanship, and that's what it is. It's a show. Once it becomes something you have to do, it's no longer sporting.
Yeah.
If I have to shake your hand, it's not sportsmanship. So in college and all the way down into youth baseball, and in youth baseball it's different. When you're 9 years old, there's a whole different reason for playing the game. I get it. They can hug and kiss all they want. That's fine. But when you start to get to be a young adult, you should have a choice, and that choice should be whether or not you want to shake somebody's hand, because everybody handles winning and losing differently. And to mandate that you have to shake hands, to me, is the antithesis of sportsmanship. And I've said this before, the greatest example of sportsmanship of all time was General Grant and Robert E. Lee. I mean, he could have dragged Lee up those steps of that house at Appomattox if he wanted to. And instead, he afforded him the dignity of a vanquished soldier. He was saluted. And that is sportsmanship, because Grant had the power to choose to not be sporting.
Yeah.
And he chose to be sporting. He chose to be compassionate. He chose not to rub Lee's nose in it. And that's a sporting gesture. If you left kids alone, you'd see some real examples of sportsmanship. Instead, what you see is this procession at the end of a game where nobody really feels anything. They just have to do it like they have to take their spikes off and put their sneakers on.
And at the youth level, because that's where I've been for quite a bit now, I can't tell you how many kids come through that line and are little, and I hate to say it, punks. They don't want to shake your hand. They're crying. They avoid eye contact. They look the other way. They just don't even put a value on it at all because they're forced to do it.
I don't know if we just don't want to face the reality that sometimes in an athletic contest, I'm not in the mood after a game to shake somebody's hand. I don't know when that became something that's so terrible that we can't confront that. Some people, they leave it out on the field. They're frustrated. Heartbreaking loss. Exhilarating win. I've seen way more trouble. And at Wagner, we had an epic riot at the University of Florida in the early 90s. Danny Ford was a part of that.
Yeah.
In the early 90s.
I was going by then. I
that's
missed
right.
That one.
You were 2 years out. And I said to the umpire, I'll never forget, I was coaching third base. I said, listen, do not let these teams shake hands. Something really bad's going to happen. Instead, what happens, they let them shake hands. Somebody says, F you. All of a sudden, there are cops on the field, and we needed a police escort to get out of there. So just sometimes it's better to let cooler heads prevail and let guys count to 10. And if I know a guy in the other ball club and I want to say hello to him, fine. Or if I want to congratulate a kid who's had an especially great year and tell him it's been a pleasure to watch you play, fine. But if I don't, that's fine too. You shouldn't be forced as a young adult to do that.
Yeah, I loved the professional game once we got there.
Of course.
That after the game,
it's grown up.
Yeah, the first couple games, I was like, we don't have to shake hands. And
right.
the coach, the manager was like, no. I was like,
right, and you don't
this
have to have that.
Great.
And you don't have to have that meeting down the left field line, which I'm still trying to figure out the sense of that.
We do it at the youth level, but it's more, we got practice on Tuesday.
Right,
We'll
it's
talk
logistics. It's logistics.
We'll talk about the game at the next practice.
I get it.
But at the youth level, that's what it's about. It's more about, hey, nice job, great job, but we have practice on Tuesday. Don't forget to check your email.
But when you played, if I'm your manager, right, and we're in Bowie, and you do something wrong, an inning later, I have you walk over to me. We face the field. We talk about it.
And it's over.
I pat you on the back, and it's done. I don't have to reiterate that to the whole team.
No.
At the end of the game, 45 minutes rehashing what I should have told you when it happened.
Yeah, no. It's the teaching moment is right when it happens, not long after.
Exactly.
And then that's it. And then it's done. You don't have to,
And to me, that's the essence of managing. It's knowing when to talk to a guy. It's knowing when not to talk to a guy. It's knowing a guy well enough to know he's not a guy that's going to work if you confront him right away.
Yes.
Maybe it takes you 2 innings. Maybe tomorrow at early work or during BP, you have a conversation with him. Athletes, especially baseball players, are fixated on one thing. They don't want to be shown up and look bad. They don't. None of us do.
No.
So if you confront a pitcher, like I see managers, a pitcher's coming off the field and they're halfway on the field to talk to him. Wait until he gets in the dugout. Everybody knows he had a bad inning. Why do you have to make it worse by in public now speaking to him before he gets to the dugout? I'm not sure of what the efficacy is of that move.
Yeah, I see that a lot at the high school level where the manager is yelling at the players.
Right.
From the
because he wants people to notice him. He wants people to know that he saw Ken Arnold throw the ball away. It happens. Guys throw the ball away. And he's going to fix it, and he wants everybody to see that he can fix it. That's where it becomes about the manager or the coach and not about the player.
By yelling?
Yeah, yelling always works.
Yeah. No. Even at the youth level, when the kids come in, I wait till the inning's over. They come in. I pull them aside. I say, this is what you should have done, X, Y, and Z. And it's over. And then I don't bring it up again. I don't yell at them. I don't yell at them in front of the other guys. How about the guy, Ken? How about the guy that goes to the mound and gives the pitching lesson? Yeah, well,
I love that guy.
What? During the game?
All of a sudden he's got his arm up and he's demonstrating, what the kid's doing wrong, as if in the heat of the moment,
the kid's going to adjust.
He's going to make that adjustment.
Are you serious? And then I love the third base coach or the first base coach is giving hitting lessons.
I love
while
that one
the guy's batting.
Right.
Really?
I love all the buzzwords. Head up, hands down, eyes up, in out, squash the bug, let it get deep.
Hey,
oh my God. I'm surprised more guys don't get hit in the face.
You know what I say? This is exactly what I say. They look down at me and I go, see it and hit it. Let's go. Come on.
Right.
Boom.
I'm sure a lot of times I could see you. I'm sure a lot of times you go like this. What?
Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
I don't have a sign. I don't have a hit a double sign.
There's nobody on base. There's nobody on base. Right. What do you want me to do right now? There's no sign. See it and hit it hard somewhere. I don't care.
And you're doing your players a favor.
Yeah.
When you do less encouraging and instructing, because what you're really saying to them is, you got this. Go ahead. Have at it.
Yeah. I love. And then when I play against other teams, I'm sitting there and I'm just baffled by the amount of time that's wasted by the third base coach giving signs when there's nobody on base. There's nobody on base. What could you be possibly telling the hitter right now? You just wasted 15 seconds of, and if you do that, I don't know, 20 times, how much time is that in a game?
Time is such a precious resource, Ken. I'm fixated on how much time people waste. Waste. Like, you only have 2 hours, or you only have a game. Yep. Like, get there a little early. What are you doing? Guys are standing. Nobody's playing pepper. Nobody's getting ground balls. Nobody's doing anything. I mean, There's so much downtime. How do you develop?
I don't know. So, Tommy Weber.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up right here, buddy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, check it out. Boom, the 2017 champs of the Cape Cod League, man,
yes.
The Whitecaps.
Yes. What a blessing.
So, what I want to ask you is it's arguably the best collegiate league in the country.
Oh, by a long shot. By
far. I mean, there are other good ones out there, but this one is the best. Oh, Andy Diorio's on. Now we got to watch what we say about Andy.
Oh,
we totally tore Andy up earlier in the show.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. But welcome, Andy. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget to comment, buddy. We love it when you comment.
He's not going to forget. I'm sure a head joke is
coming.
Incipient.
At some point. But the Cape Cod League, you coached up there.
Yep.
How many years now? Is it
3? 3.
So you've been up there for 3 years now. Tell us a little bit about what that experience is like, working with that level of player in that level of league in that area of the country.
It's the best players in the world at that level, and it is what you would imagine. It is like a fabulous baseball laboratory where I get to work with guys who are able to do things that most people can't do. Very few people can do. And also, one of my observations in being out there, I'm sure Neil Barbella could attest to this, we talk about this all the time, is that these elite players are also elite people. I've met some of the best people that I've ever been around. These kids are just so committed to the craft. That's my thing. When I first got out there, I was feeling my way around, and I was the new guy. But once guys like AJ Graffinino and Julian and all these guys, and I'd have to name them all. Logan Warmoth started to get the bug, if you will. It just never stopped. As a matter of fact, it was like I created a monster. I mean, they couldn't get enough, and it's really gratifying. And they make it. I've always been a players guy. I've never made a secret of the fact that for me the game is about the players. I really don't care about anybody or anything else. I'm a player advocate, and I'm going to do what's in the best interest of the players. And for me, it just has been a real blessing for 3 years to work with such elite people and elite players.
What's it like on draft day when names are being called and a good portion of the team that you've coached,
24 guys last year,
is getting selected to play professional baseball?
It's really cool. It's really cool because even though you're with them, you're like, I wonder where they'll go in the draft. Like it's even though I'm with them every day, it's hard. It's hard to sort of project where guys are going to get drafted. I don't know who's every player in the country. So when one of my players goes wherever they go, and they all go pretty high, it's really especially gratifying. I mean, what more could you want than a player getting out of the game at this point what he has put so much time in to get, and you feel a part of it, no question. I'm still in very close contact with almost all my guys. I make sure I am because I want to be an advocate for them not only while they're playing for me, but I believe you're supposed to be an advocate for them for the rest of their lives if they need be. So it's really gratifying on draft day to see all of these guys realize a dream.
I think it's fantastic. I see how excited you get, and you're posting on Facebook, you're posting on Twitter about these guys, and I see video with you and these guys, and just watching those things, it just gets my energy up to get out and coach the kids that I'm working with to see what they can do, even though they're only at the youth level. But to get them to the next level for me is a goal that I have, to get them to play in high school.
Of course.
To get them to play in college.
Of course.
And then when they do that, I mean, it makes me feel good.
Of course.
Inside.
I try to impress something upon people. People think that the only way you can experience the game is if you're a big league player. Well, if you played in Little League, you've experienced just about everything you're going to experience. Just as you get older, you experience it as an older, better player. So the dynamic never changes. The group dynamic doesn't change. Whether it's Little League, Babe Ruth League, high school, college, the Cape, the pros, AAA, the major leagues, it's still the same dynamic. So we're all really trying to get our guys, whether it's me with guys in the Cape or you with 13-year-olds, to move up and progress to wherever it is life, luck, and their ability is going to take them. And there is a lot of luck involved, and I try to also impress that upon them. Look, the reality is, as you know, I love my guys, and I have no problem saying that. I will take a bullet for my players. I will. And just as when you played, we were very close. Now, we're a lot closer in age, so it was easier for us to be close. Yeah. I'm not nearly, obviously, as close in age to these guys, but I'm just as close. I love these guys, and I will, if a phone call comes late at night and they need a body to get buried, well, I got lime, a tarp, and a shovel. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Neil
I'm Italian. I'm Italian.
I'm Italian. Hey, we got to do what we got to do.
Right. So we take care of our own.
And I'm working for the Westies. So there you have it. So Neil came on and he said high caliber players, but more importantly, high caliber people, and that's true. Absolutely.
And Neil was in the bullpen, which is like the bullpen, as you know, in baseball, is like another like you got to be careful going into that bullpen. You may never come out. And those guys,
it's a no holds barred comedy club, actually. If you think about it.
Wow.
Yes.
So Neil's got some great stories, but Neil's a perfect example. A guy that was out in the bullpen this year, and got very close to those guys, and they confide in him. He becomes their father confessor. He becomes what you would expect.
Yeah.
They can trust him. They knew that whatever happened out there stayed out there, and that's very important for athletes. They need to know they can trust you and that you have their back.
All right, I got to take my headphones off for 1 second here so I can put my glasses on. I can't see anymore. So we've been on for, let me see. Boom. Where's our time? Oh, almost 45 minutes. So we're going to stay on a little bit longer. But I'm going to bring up one more topic that I want to talk about this week.
Am I talking too much? No,
absolutely not. I mean,
I'm only kidding.
Seriously, it goes really fast.
And you know what? What I love about this is we're both passionate about the game, and it gives the thing I love most about social media. And I mean, look, it's like anything else. There are positives and negatives. Yeah. What I like about social media is you get to have a voice. Yeah. And here's the deal: you could choose to listen or not listen.
Exactly. And I think that's the problem in the world. There's too many people who are not willing to just tune out. Just tune
right.
Change
I don't want anybody silenced. I believe in free speech. But if I can choose who I want to listen to, and so can other people.
Exactly. John Giovingo just joined. And by the way, if we need another Italian to bury
Johnny G.
Yes, Johnny G will do it.
There you go.
So, just letting you know. He's a good guy from Long Island. So, and Joseph Russo said, "I'm always listening to you, buddy." So.
Joe Russo is a master chef. Hits a golf ball like 300 yards.
Where does he work? Where's he?
He is.
Where's he a chef?
He is one of the New York's bravest. He is works for the New York City Fire Department.
Oh, fantastic!
A dear friend of mine. He actually coached with us in the ACBL under Frank Del George. Okay. He has seen He has seen me at my worst on the baseball field. So, but Joe's a great guy. I love him, and he's a fabulous chef. He made for us one of the greatest meals I've ever had. He's fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Joe. I appreciate it, man. So, Tommy, let's talk a little bit about, and I asked you before we started the show, and you said you didn't get an opportunity to watch it, but the World Baseball Classic, the women's division.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, it was going. It lasted for 10 days. It just ended on the 31st of August. They had
What'd you think?
They had the championship game. I watched 2 games, a good portion of 2 games.
90 feet? 90 feet?
Yes, absolutely. 90
Really?
feet. The average pitching speed was in the mid-70s. So their
Okay.
fastball was like mid-70s,
Okay.
which isn't bad.
Not at all.
But here's the thing. They had to be pitchers. They weren't blowing the ball by anybody, right?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew
Right.
it.
And who won? You ready? Japan won the title. And Taipei came in second.
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals, Tommy.
Yeah, the Japanese.
I'm watching the games, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is bunt situation. Boom. Perfect, right? The defense, when they played defense, all the routine plays were made. Everybody was in the right position. Nobody overshifted or did a shift. And I'm just watching the game, and it was a beautiful thing because they can't hit the ball 450 feet, 500 feet. They weren't approaching it with a launch angle swing. They were approaching it with a let's put the ball in play hard swing and use the entire field. And it was amazing to watch, and it was a good game to watch.
Look, I hear exactly what you're saying. I'm not in any way hating on launch angle. First of all, launch angle is a fact. Every ball has a launch angle. I understand that.
If you hit it in the air, it has a launch angle.
Well, if you hit a ground ball, it has a launch
angle. But it's a negative launch angle.
I get it. Yeah. I'm not in any way trying to. I just think that sometimes we get hooked on words as opposed to concepts and terms as opposed to ideas and feel. If you want to hit the ball higher, hit the ball higher. If that's your thing and that works for you, I've told hitters since the beginning. If you're hitting and it works for you, I don't care how you're doing it, just keep doing it because success is fleeting and you want to ride it for as long as you possibly can. But I will say this. The ballparks being tiny, the players being very strong, and the pitchers throwing so hard necessitates or allows for a different game to be played. And this is the game you're playing. And you could like it or not like it, but the reality is when you have ballparks that are tiny, players that are big, guys who come in for one inning and throw 98 miles an hour, well, the result is going to be a lot of strikeouts and a lot of long balls because that's what the game now is conducive to. Now, what you're seeing is what you would see if you had only 6'2" basketball players. You would see an incredibly well-played fundamental game because you're not going to have 6'10" guys jumping over the rim and who don't really need a lot of – because in a game where size is a skill, like basketball, let's face it, if Shaquille O'Neal was 6'6", he couldn't play in the NBA. Well, he was 7'3". That's why he was in the NBA because size is a skill. And in baseball, power and velocity are skills that mitigate against needing to have all the skills that you would love to see. And that's why the women's game, I'm sure, is very entertaining because I'm also sure there's a lot of action.
There is a lot of action, and there's a lot going on. And like I said, when a ball was put into play, they knew what to do with it.
Right.
They knew where to throw the ball. They were lined up correctly. A pitcher was backing up the proper base.
All right.
It was fun to watch.
But you have to.
Yeah.
You have to because now the ball's getting thrown around more. The ball's getting handled more. Mm-hmm. You're getting more action. You're forcing the team to get 27 outs. It's not like let's face it, every game there's like 16 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Braden Bishop is on, but if he is, that's one of the Seattle Mariners' top prospects and the brother of Hunter Bishop, my dear friend, and the playoff MVP for the Brewster Whitecaps last year. So, Braden, what's up, man? I hope your healing is coming along. Just had a surgery, but he's got a very, very bright future, and He's a super guy. Super guy. Can't wait to meet him.
So before we sign off, Tommy, one thing I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about your website, Tommy Weber Baseball. I'm going to bring up the website right now, and if you want to tell us a little bit about that and when people can actually hear you elsewhere other than our show on Pro Prep Baseball.
Well,
I'm going to bring that up right now. Here we go.
Thanks, man. Thanks. For years, people have been telling me, you got to write, you got to speak, you got to do all this. So I started to do it, and some people are enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying putting onto making permanent. This Tony Losi, great pitcher. There we are, baby, champions. I decided to do it, at the urging of my wife and some colleagues and some former players, guys like you. You can listen to my podcast, The Conversation with Tommy Weber. That gets out we drop that once a week.
Sure.
And the website has a whole bunch of great videos. I'm backlogged. I got to throw a lot of videos on there, a lot of stuff that I've written. Just really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Some really cool testimonials from a lot of great players who I've had the pleasure to be around.
Yeah, and what we'll do is every week when you put the podcast up, we will automatically share it here on Pro Prep Baseball every time. So
Ken, let me ask you. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah,
I want to ask you a question. Terrific player, professional. You have what do you have? 11 kids?
I do.
You have 11 children.
No, you know what my wife said to me today? She's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about getting another dog." I'm like, "What? We already have one. What do we need another one?" Come on.
So this is a good question. So if you could give one gift to the modern player, so to the modern young player, right? Your 13-year-old's perfect. That's the sweet spot because that's where they start to actually be real, right? 13, 14. Yeah. They can throw the ball. They can tell you to go F yourself.
Yeah, they start to get it. Yeah.
Right, they start to get it. If you could give them one thing, what would it be?
What would it be? When I was young and when I played, I didn't have the wherewithal to kind of step back and enjoy what was happening.
Perspective.
Yes, enjoy what I was going through at the time. Even when I played in college, when I played professionally, I didn't get it until close to the end of my career when I knew.
Because you're on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, my time was short.
Right.
Right. I didn't realize that this isn't going to last forever. And if I could give anything to any of the players that I have, any of the players that I coach, enjoy the game and have fun and relax and don't beat yourself up all the time because it doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve anything. It doesn't make you a better player by beating yourself up.
I think it just does the opposite.
Yeah, I think it makes you worse. I think it makes you anxious. I think it makes you nervous, and you can't relax and you can't perform. So just enjoy the game. Learn to love the game and being out there with the guys all the time. And those moments, the moments in between, because the game is fun. It's the moments in between when you're in the dugout, when you're in the van, when you're in the locker room and you're playing cards or whatever it is, man. Those times are you'll never forget those things.
And it's very hard, except in the game or in sports, to replicate that in any other part of your life.
It is. It really is. These are guys that you are going to, you like you said, you're going to go to war for. Guys that you would do anything for.
Yep.
And you're going to, that carries through the rest of your life. And friends that I played with at Wagner, man, I would do anything for any of those guys.
Yep.
You and Gagliardi and Croce and Andy, and I didn't even play with Andy. Right, he came in the year I left.
Yeah, 92.
Yeah, and but I was back. I was working out with the guys, and I became friends with them. So just those moments, I became friends with him, and then eventually we played together professionally at Somerset.
Yep.
But you just make these bonds with people, and a lot of people just don't. They don't get that, especially when you're young. You're not paying. It's more about you when you're young, and it's not about the other players and people around.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend. Those 13-year-olds and their parents should understand that they're lucky to have you because not everybody has that perspective. Not everybody comes from where you come from with that kind of experience and is willing to donate their time. Guys like you are few and far between, and hopefully some of those parents are watching tonight because they should really appreciate what you do for them.
Well, I love being out there. And
I know you do.
I love teaching the kids. I love teaching them. And yeah, sometimes I'm like, I'm a pain in the butt sometimes. But,
right.
I think that the game is one of the greatest games. It is the greatest game. To me, it is. And it just to be out there and working with the guys, it's something that I will always want to do. And it's something that keeps me going, and I love it. And, having you in my life, when I went to Wagner and meeting you and having you mentor me through my 4 years at Wagner, and even after Wagner, just being around you in the off season and talking with you and
we had oh my God, oh boy, all right, let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Yeah, but those things, man.
I know you can't it's that's what's unique, and you're right. That's a great thing to be able to impart on young people, and you should really demand that of them, like somehow.
Yes. I don't know how, because there are some of them that just when they're there, they just appear not to want to be there. So, and you know who just joined? Bobby Kahn.
Bobby Kahn, right-hander.
Yes,
another good guy. Where is he? How far out on Long Island does he live? How far do you live out on Long Island? He's still in. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah.
These Long Island guys. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Bobby Kahn's living out in Sachem, and his son's a good little player, second baseman, I think. Bobby, he puts videos up, and little left-handed hitter. Yeah.
Send us some stuff. We'll put it on. We'll put it on. We promote our guys.
Yes, we do. Tough pitcher, man. Back in the day for the WAG, absolutely.
Good guy.
Had a lot of fun times with Bobby, and Bobby just said, "Looking good, fellas." Thank you, Bobby Kahn. And you know what? You know what? I'm a little jealous of Bobby Kahn. You know why?
Why?
He still has a full head of hair.
Does he really?
Yes, he does.
Wow.
I see pictures of him, and I look at him, and I go, that son of a gun. Still got a full head of hair.
Wow.
Yeah. And, he said his son, Western Connecticut. It looks like his son is at Western Connecticut.
So, great. Great. I still have a full head of hair. I go with this. This is a look. This is a look I'm affecting.
Me too. Me too. I went with the full bald. I just went. Yeah, I went with the full bald. I just shaved it. I was like, screw it, man. I'm done. I took a picture. I looked at pictures of my father and my two grandfathers, and I was like, I got no shot. So I'm shaving it.
It's all good. It's all good.
So anyway, Tommy, we gotta get going, man. I'll let you get back to. Your life.
Who's saying I look the same? Who's saying I look the same?
Bobby Kahn.
All right,
Bobby Kahn said you look the same.
Bobby will say anything for $20. It's in the mail. The $20 is in the mail.
It's in the mail. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't look the same, Bobby. I'm sorry. It's been a rough, 25 years since the WAG.
All right, listen, this is great, man. This is great.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we got a good little crowd right near the end.
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you for coming on, Bobby Kahn, Andy DiOrio, Dan Ford, Neil Barbarella, everybody who came on tonight. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching.
Bishop. All right.
We're going to be doing this every week on Sunday nights. Come on, join us, make comments, post videos.
Make fun.
Yes, make fun, have fun. That's what it's all about.
That's right.
And let's talk about the game we all love. That's why we're here. So I thank you guys. We will see you next week. Tommy Weber, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next Sunday, buddy.
Be good, partner. See you. Be well.
All right. Peace.